I sat in my Indianapolis apartment, the suitcase I'd packed for the long-awaited family cruise now lying untouched in front of me. The excitement that had been building for weeks had swiftly evaporated, replaced by confusion and a deep, unsettling unease. My mom's voice crackled through the phone, pulling me from my thoughts. "Please, honey, Grandma really needs you right now." "She's not feeling well at all," my mom said, the concern in her voice a little too forced, too rehearsed. At that moment, I hesitated. I had been looking forward to this cruise for months. It was supposed to be the first real family vacation in years, a chance to reconnect with my parents, my sister Emma, and the rest of the family. I had worked hard for this, saved up and even taken time off from my job. But when my mom called, I immediately decided that family came first. "Of course, I'll stay. I'll cancel everything, Mom. Grandma's health is more important," I said, my voice steady. I didn't think twice. But those words would come back to haunt me. My name is Tara Smith. I'm 28 years old, and I've spent my whole life trying to be the responsible daughter, the one everyone could rely on when things went wrong. I helped my parents with the bills, took care of Grandma during her rough moments, and always tried to be the good daughter. But little did I know, my devotion to my family was about to be tested in ways I never could have imagined. As I drove to the hospital, my phone buzzed again. I couldn't resist checking the notification. It was a post from Emma, my sister. I had no idea what I was about to see. There they were, my parents, Emma, aunts, uncles, and everyone else, smiling, laughing, and enjoying themselves on the deck of a cruise ship. The caption read, "Best vacation ever. So blessed to have such an amazing family. Cruise life, family time." I felt my stomach drop. I pulled over to the side of the road, my hands shaking as I stared at the photo. I couldn't believe it. They had lied to me. They had used Grandma's supposed illness as an excuse to exclude me from the family vacation. And worse, they'd done it all behind my back. I tried calling my parents, but their phones went straight to voicemail. Emma had blocked me on social media. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. I didn't know what to do. So I drove to Grandma's house, tears blurring my vision, unsure of how I would face her. When I arrived, to my surprise, Grandma was standing in the doorway, perfectly healthy and completely unaware of what had just unfolded. "Grandma, what's wrong, sweetheart?" she asked, pulling me into a warm embrace. The familiar scent of her lavender perfume brought fresh tears to my eyes as I tried to process everything. I sat down with her in the cozy living room, and the floodgates opened. I told her everything. The lies, the cruise, the social media posts, everything that had shattered my trust. I expected her to be angry or upset, but instead she listened in silence. Then her face darkened with disappointment. "Tara, your mother called me last week," Grandma said, her voice tight with anger. "She asked me to pretend I was in the hospital if you came by. I refused. Of course, but I had no idea they'd actually go through with it." I felt my world crumbling. Not only had they lied, but they had used Grandma to manipulate me. "They've been doing this for years," Grandma continued, her voice growing firmer. "They've favored Emma, taken advantage of your kindness, of your dedication. But now, you need to see the truth." The truth came pouring out. My parents had been stealing from my trust fund, using the money to fund Emma's dance lessons, her private school, her wedding. All the while, I had been working multiple jobs to make ends meet. I had tried so hard, given so much, and yet I had been treated as the second choice. I couldn't understand it. "Why did they always make me feel like I was imagining it?" I whispered, my eyes brimming with tears. Grandma's eyes flashed with determination. because that's what people do when they know they're wrong. They make you doubt yourself. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to let them manipulate me anymore. The truth was clear now, and I was done being the one who always gave, always helped, and never received anything in return. The next few days felt like a whirlwind. I couldn't stop thinking about everything I had learned: the financial manipulation, the lies, the cruise. And then, as if fate had delivered another blow, I received a group text from my cousin. She had accidentally included me in the family group chat, sharing photos from the vacation. I scrolled through the images, my heart sinking as I saw my parents, my sister, and the entire family enjoying themselves. But what stung the most was seeing my mom wear the diamond necklace, the one Grandma had given her, meant to be shared equally between me and Emma. It was supposed to be mine. I showed Grandma the photo, my voice trembling. Even though I'm the older one, she already has it, doesn't she? Grandma's face hardened. That necklace has been in our family for generations. Your great-grandmother split it between her daughters, and I passed it on to your mother with specific instructions. But now... She trailed off, her disappointment palpable. Then Grandma revealed the final bombshell. She had given my parents $15,000 for the family vacation. The money had been meant for all of us, but they had used my share to upgrade their cabins and book extra excursions. They had used my money for their indulgence, and I had been completely unaware. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked, my voice shaking with disbelief. Grandma's expression turned fierce. I wanted to see if they would change. I wanted to see if they'd do the right thing. But they didn't. This is the last straw. With a steady hand, Grandma pulled out a thick manila envelope. Inside were years of documents, bank statements, emails, notes, everything detailing the financial manipulation my parents had orchestrated. My blood ran cold as I read the records, realizing the full extent of their deceit. "They've been stealing from you since you were 3 years old," Grandma said, her voice cold. "Your mother convinced the trustee to give her early access to your share of the trust, and Emma has been the beneficiary of it all." The realization hit me like a freight train. My parents hadn't just lied to me. They had been stealing from me for years. They had taken advantage of my kindness and generosity, and now I had to make a choice. Grandma's voice was calm, but filled with resolve as she said, "We can take legal action. We have the proof. Your Uncle Michael is willing to testify. We can make sure they never hurt you again." I nodded, my determination building. This wasn't just about a vacation or a necklace. This was about taking control of my life, standing up for what was right, and making sure my parents could never hurt me again. The next morning, I met with Uncle Michael. He handed me a thick folder filled with documents. "They're planning to leave the country, Tara. They've been moving money around, preparing for something. The cruise wasn't just a vacation. It was a test run to see if their passports would raise any red flags." I felt my blood run cold. "They're planning to run off with what's left of my trust fund?" "Yes," Uncle Michael replied, his voice grim. "And Emma's been helping them set up accounts in her name to hide the money." Just then, my phone buzzed with a message from Emma. "I know what you're doing. You've always been jealous of me. Well, guess what? You're too late. By the time you figure it out, we'll be gone, and you'll have nothing." I showed the text to Uncle Michael, whose face went pale. "They're moving faster than we thought. We need to act now." I called Grandma immediately. "They're at the family company right now. They're cleaning out my father's office. What should I do?" Grandma was quiet for a moment. "Get down there. You're the controlling shareholder now. The paperwork was filed first thing this morning. They don't know that yet. That's our advantage." I rushed to the family company's headquarters. my heart pounding in my chest. As I stepped out of the car, I saw my parents walking out with boxes from my father's office. They froze when they saw me. "What are you doing here?" my father demanded, trying to keep his authoritative CEO voice, but I could see the fear in his eyes. I held up my phone, displaying the ownership documents. "This is my company now, and I think those boxes contain evidence of how you've been stealing from my trust fund." My mother's face went pale. Police cars pulled into the parking lot, lights flashing. FBI agents emerged from unmarked vehicles. The truth had finally come out. Emma burst into tears, and my father tried to pull her away. But it was too late. The truth had finally caught up with them. 3 months later, I sat in Grandma's garden, sipping coffee, reflecting on everything that had happened. My parents were facing federal charges, and Emma was now forced to live independently, cut off from the financial support she had once relied on. I had taken control of my life, turned the company around, and implemented a scholarship program for employees' children. I had found my strength, my purpose, and most importantly, my self-worth. "I never wanted any of this," I admitted to Grandma. She squeezed my hand. "Sometimes life's greatest blessings come disguised as its greatest challenges. You've turned their betrayal into something positive." And for the first time in my life, I realized I had truly found freedom. As I sat there in Grandma's garden, the crisp autumn air wrapped around me, and the peaceful rustling of leaves almost felt surreal. I had never imagined that I would be sitting here, having fought so hard to get to this point. Everything had changed. The lies, the manipulation, the betrayal. They had all come to light, and I was stronger for it. I looked down at my hands, remembering the girl I had been, always seeking approval, always running to help, never questioning the treatment I received. But now, with everything that had happened, I felt a sense of closure settling in my chest. The truth was no longer buried. The truth had set me free. As I sipped my coffee, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride mixed with relief. For so long, I had allowed myself to be the dependable daughter, the one who always did what was expected. But now, I had reclaimed my life. I had taken control of my future, my legacy, and most importantly, my self-respect. The reality of my parents' downfall still felt like a distant echo in the back of my mind. The FBI's investigation was thorough, and while they were facing serious charges, the weight of it all hadn't fully sunk in yet. Emma had already left the family home and was trying to rebuild her life. She had apologized, but I knew that the wounds between us ran too deep to be healed with mere words. My phone buzzed, snapping me out of my thoughts. It was a message from one of my cousins. "Hey, Tara, I just wanted to say thank you for standing up for yourself. I didn't know the full story, and I regret not seeing what was happening all these years. You're an inspiration." I smiled, the words a small but powerful reminder that I wasn't alone in this fight. My actions had ripple effects. People were starting to see the truth, and the support, though late, meant the world to me. Grandma sat across from me, watching the leaves fall, and she gave me a knowing smile. "Your grandfather always said that sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the hardest challenges. He was right. You've grown into someone I'm proud of, Tara." I squeezed her hand, grateful for her wisdom and guidance through this entire ordeal. I never knew how much strength I had until I had no choice but to use it. And I couldn't have done it without you. Grandma's eyes softened, and she gave a slight nod. "You've always had that strength. You just had to realize it for yourself. Now, it's time for you to live your life on your own terms." I nodded, knowing she was right. I had spent so many years living in the shadow of my family's expectations, but now It was my turn to shine. Later that week, I visited the family company's headquarters. The building that had once felt like a symbol of their power now stood as a reminder of everything I had overcome. The employees greeted me with respect, knowing that the toxic leadership had been replaced by a new vision, one built on transparency and fairness. It felt right. The business was thriving under my leadership. We had implemented systems that empowered employees, and the scholarship program for children of workers was something I took pride in. I had turned the betrayal into something positive. I had taken something dark and transformed it into an opportunity to give back, to show the world that integrity was far more valuable than deceit. As for my parents, they were now dealing with the consequences of their actions. They had tried to manipulate, gaslight, and threaten me. But in the end, the truth had won. They would have to face the fallout from their decisions. And Emma, well, she had chosen her path. The apology she sent me was heartfelt, but it wasn't enough. The damage had been done. I couldn't forget the years of favoritism and manipulation. Some things were too broken to fix with words. But I had learned to let go, and I knew that my focus needed to be on the future, not the past. The story had reached its end, but my journey was just beginning. I had been knocked down, but I had gotten back up stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The family I had once fought so hard for had shown me their true colors, and now I was free to live life on my terms. I stood up from Grandma's garden and walked toward the house, my heart full. I knew that no matter what came next, I had the strength to face it, and that, more than anything, was worth everything. To my readers, I want to ask, have you ever found yourself caught in a situation where your trust was betrayed? How did you find the strength to move forward? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Share your stories in the comments. We're all in this together, and your journey might just inspire someone else to find their own strength.